Here we go again. Jamunya Atra, also known as Kush. Make a little video for you, but as always, before we even start, let's go ahead and give a toast to the ancestors and invite them here to help me with my presentation to you. This is just a real quick, well, let's do the toast first. Real quick video. Uh, here recently, I have had a lot of people ask me about Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, Floyd. Everybody knows Floyd. And then also the people who've been killed in Atlanta and then on the West Coast and all of that stuff. It's beginning to be so many people that is just a blur, right? And a lot of people have been saying, well, hey, Black Lives Matter is really beginning to gain some speed and some momentum. And we have white people helping us protest now. And don't you think that this is an amazing thing? No, I don't like none of it. I don't. Because I see past the smoke and the mirrors. I'm not falling for the okie doke, and I don't have time to fall for the banana in the tailpipe. So no, I'm not with all of that foolishness. My mentality is still the same way. Okay, black people, we still need to work on our own jump. We still need to build ourselves. Okay, let's say for instance we stop police brutality. Great, wonderful, amazing. But we still have to focus on our educational system that does not teach any black history or any type of cultural pride for black people. We still have to work on the healthcare system that constantly abuses our black women when they have to go and seek some type of medical attention for whatever reason. Black men too. We still have to deal with prison system and reform that as well. We still have to close the economic gap between black and white families. And do something about the fact that a white man and a black man can have the same position and a white man earn up to 25% more than the black man. There are a lot of issues that we have to face. I could care less about removal of statues and Confederacy because the North, the Union Army, was just as racist as the Confederate Army. The Civil War had nothing to do with slavery. Slavery was just a byproduct. It was secondary. I don't care about none of that stuff. I care about black people being able to do what they want to do, when they want to do it, how they want to do it, where they want to do it. Period. Black man, black woman, black child. If you don't agree with me, hey, that's fine. Go to Starbucks if you want to. I don't care. But don't sit here and try to mislead black people who are trying to build something, to have something, and can see that this stuff is not all what it's cracked up to be. So I guess you wonder, hey, well, why would you say such a thing, Kush? Why? Well, I'll tell you. We have a lot of black folks that have opinions. Destruction of the Black Civilization is a great book that everyone, I think, should start with. Why? Because every black scholar that I know who is pro-black always talks about this book, The Destruction of the Black Civilization, written by Chancellor Williams. Okay? The book goes all the way back to 4500 BC, explaining to you what happened to black society. And I'll give you a hint. It always had to do with trying to accommodate outsiders to the detriment and the neglect of the indigenous. Still doing it to this day. Start with this book. After you read that book, Check this book out. It's called Stamped from the Beginning. And I'm going to read this name because I mess his name up every time. I believe it's Ibram X. Kendi or Kendi. One of the two. Excuse me, bro. All respects to you. Don't want to disrespect you and mispronounce your name. So if anybody can correct me on that, go ahead. Stamped from the Beginning. Gonna let you know it all from recent time. From pretty much around 1619 all the way up until right before President Obama, during President Obama. If you want to understand why there's so much pain and why black people keep bringing up the past, this book will enlighten you a lot. 100 Years of Lynching. It talks about all of the suffering and all of the pain and the trauma and everything that black people had to deal with, even after the Emancipation Proclamation. You had thousands of lynchings from after 1865, Juneteenth, all the way up until the early 1900s. And I would even say in the mid 1900s. 100 years of lynching. If you don't understand why black people act the way that they act, this book will enlighten you. The Miseducation of the Negro. Written by my elder, my ancestor, Carter G. Woodson. And this will explain to you the mentality of the black man, aka no. Let me say that this way. The coon. The concept of the infamous house Negro. The one that always want to be right up there up under massa and take delight in his own people being destroyed. The miseducation of the Negro. It explains it in good detail. Analogy after analogy. Post-Traumatic Slave Syndrome, written by Dr. DeGruy. Now you notice, most of these books are by black elite, so to speak, educated black folks who trying to tell you, who trying to explain it to you, who trying to put you on game, let you know exactly what's going on. Y'all not listening. Better yet, you're not reading. Just like they used to say, you don't want a nigga to know something, put it in the book. And they got it all in books, putting the information out. But you know what's bad about it? You don't even have to read. You got all of these books on audiobook. Some of these books I bought twice. I got them in book form and audiobook form. I listen to them when I'm cutting the grass or when I'm traveling somewhere. Marcus Garvey. I got 2 of his books. Marcus Garvey. Check him out. He gonna tell you his biggest fight was against who? His biggest fight was not against the white folks. His biggest fight was against the black people protecting the white folks. You see, black people had this issue. We had this problem. It's called Stockholm Syndrome. It's a psychosis. It's a psychology where the people who oppressed you because you've been under oppression for so long. And your mind is so, I don't know, amiss that you begin to care for the very people that oppress you. So much so to the point that you will protect them. If you read these books, you will understand that white people have always used divide and conquer. That is the only tool that has been successful in their repertoire of weapons. And they use divide and conquer to make us fight each other so that they can sit back and say, well, I didn't do that. And then you had coons that'll sit here and say stupid stuff like, well, Africans sold other Africans. And then you take that completely out of context or don't give any explanation to why Africans would sell other Africans. Yes, that did happen, but not in the way that you think. And I could explain it. Maybe I will explain it on another video. But you need to read and do some research. Amos Wilson, I'm talking about one of my most favorite scholars. Dr. Amos Wilson, The Blueprint for Black Power. It's not a racist book. You see Black Power on it and people automatically, oh, that's racist. No, it's not. It's explaining to you the necessity and the need for black people to establish their own stuff. For black people to have their own stuff. Because who's to say that white people will be nice forever? Who's to say that we won't need to make a move on our own for the benefit of us? You already see that our educational system is not working for us. The rising tide of color. The threat against white world supremacy. That book is written by a Harvard graduate. You know, we like to say, oh, Harvard. It must be somebody who's really, really important if a Harvard graduate was to write the book. He wrote a book about the different races of people. He categorized them. The red man, the yellow man, the black man, and the white man. And he explained the fact that the white people are a minority in this country. Excuse me. And they have the most difficult time having children. And therefore, without having some type of dominance on the world, that they would constantly be in jeopardy of being outbreeded. Does that make sense? They would be in jeopardy of being a minority forever. And being a minority, you don't have the numbers to defend yourself. So anybody could overrun you. So therefore, you must have some type of a chokehold on the world. Do you not see how that makes sense? Do you not see why that is? You see, we black people, we have all these different notions and these ideas of purity and this, that, and the other. We don't even know what we don't know. So therefore, it's easy for people to make ignorant statements because you don't know. You going based off of your emotions, your feelings, what you think, what you like, what you believe. When we got all of this information right here, all of this, just to explain. Look, I got a book I got this from my brother. Why? Because I realize now that I'm a man, that I need to know certain things. And I can't just go off of my gut feeling. I can't just use intuition. Why? One, because I'm not as spiritually astute as my ancestors were. And for two, why do I need to when I got all this information that will explain it to me? No opinion necessary. No guesswork. This is real life. Understand it. And then you have some Negroes that have the audacity to try to debate and argue when they have not even read the first book. Well, all I know is, and the only book that we say we read is the Bible. And most people who claim to be Christian haven't even read the Bible, so can't even tell you. There's a scripture in the Bible that say there'll be a point when everybody will choose their own kind. Come on. Quote scripture or try to quote scripture and don't even understand it. Don't even realize that the majority of that information comes out of Africa. Plagiarized. But you have the nerve and the audacity to try to debate, to try to argue. You hear a person like me say, hey, black people need to take care of themselves first. I didn't say we need to go and beat up on somebody. I didn't say we need to go and destroy it. I said black people need to work on themselves first. We got so much stuff that we have to overcome. Get ourselves right. Get our feet back under us. Get our second wind. But you don't know that because you have not read this information. How do I know about this information? How do I know about every last one of these books that I have? I've heard one of the elders mention the book. That's how the elder was able to do the presentation or the speech, because he or she read the book. So if he or she read the book and it gave them enough information to be able to put out some information to enlighten me, then maybe I should read the book too. It's very simple. The equation is not difficult. The equation is actually very simple. It's just once you get the answer to the equation, it's about putting some plan or course of action into play. But most of us are not willing to do that. We know we living in a time where everything is uncertain. We got this COVID-19. We got all these protests. We got all these people who are scared and shaken. The economy is on the fritz. Everything is unstable and unbalanced. And yet and still, nobody wants to pick up a book, read it, so that we can get things into place. Or if you're ignorant enough to not want to pick up a book and read it, at least listen to the people that have read the books. I'm not telling you to listen to me. There's a dude in Jacksonville right now, Vernon Jackson, an attorney who has a black community that he has been taking care of for some years now. He's on Instagram, YouTube, all of that stuff. His hashtag is attorney awesome. Been in the game. Nobody don't want to hear him. You want to follow Black Lives Matter, the NAACP, the Urban League, organizations that have done nothing for black people. No tangible, nothing that you can put your finger on, that you can stick your tongue out, taste or feel or see or nothing that you can conceptualize that they have done for black people. Nothing. But you still give them funding. Bezos, Netflix, and all these other Fortune 500 companies now are going to donate a portion of their money to these nonprofit organizations. No, give it to the hood. You want to give it to the NAACP. Why? No, they ain't did nothing for us. Urban League ain't did nothing. Black Lives Matter is another one. All of these organizations were created by white folks. None of them have been created solely by black people. They put black people in office, but they use the beta male system, some coon that they can control, and shovel out a whole bunch of bull crap to you, and you believe it. Instead of looking at the real people who's actually doing something. I'm not here for money. I got a job. I work an everyday job. I'm not here to well, you know what I'm saying, support me, like me on Instagram. Man, forget, I'm a grown man. I ain't got time for all that stuff. I do my thing. I do this for the few people who do listen, because I genuinely want to see my people come up and not get fooled again. That's what it's about. This is real life to me. Educate yourselves. I ain't talking about in school, college, none of that foolishness. None of that don't matter to me. I don't care. The matter of fact, the people who have educated me the most did not have degrees. Some of them didn't even finish high school. You need to educate yourself. You need to know who you are. You need to understand your ancestors. There's no way you can begin to understand your capacity of learning or capacity of being without understanding who you come from, where you come from. This melanin, what does this mean? The pineal gland, what does that mean? I could go on and on about different little details. But what does it mean? If you don't understand what it means, there's no sense in talking about it or knowing about it. This is real life. This is real life. You have to understand that the past, the present, and the future are one and the same. The past, present, and the future are one and the same. If you don't understand the past, then the past will be the reality for the present. The present leads you into the future. Think about it. When you were a kid, there's some things that happen to people as children that still affect their behavior to this day. The past don't never go away. It's right here in your lap. It stay with you. Everybody is a product of their decisions. If you made a bad decision 10 years ago, 9 times out of 10 is right there with you. If you don't raise your kids right, it's going to tell on you. It's going to catch up with you. If you don't do your money right, it's going to catch up with you when you got an emergency. If you don't prepare your mind to think, when it comes time to make a decision, it's going to catch up with you. We are a product of what we know and what we don't know. And that don't go nowhere. It stays with you. Understand it. So the beginning of learning any and everything is the beginning or the process of learning who you are. The only way you can do that is by understanding and knowing who your ancestors were. Period. Period. Then once you know that, then it will be an automatic process that you will have self-pride enough to build up your people. Period. Know thyself, remember your ancestors, build your community. I love y'all. I'm out.